Hi there, welcome to webinar in real estate. As we know, there's tons of investment vehicles out there. Stock market being one. Stock market's done very, very well in the last year. It can be very volatile also. So if you time the stock market right, especially now, you can make an outstanding return on your investment. But I'm a little more old-fashioned, and I prefer bricks and mortar, something that I can look at, touch, know that it's still there, know that it's going to hold its value. That's what interests me. So that's what I'm going to talk about today is investing in real estate in a couple different ways. My name is Chris Tillotson. I'm principal of Tillotson Properties. I've been investing in real estate since the early 80s. Today we're going to explore two variations that Tillotson Properties offers to investors. The two types of investments will be residential home flips and long-term investing in commercial and residential properties. Just to be clear and upfront, no matter what we invest in, there's always risks. But we'll do our best to make sure your investment is risk-averse as possible. We're going to do everything we can. We're going to do our homework to make sure that you're going to get a sound investment when you invest with our real estate portfolio. Who's this for? This is for people who are interested in investing in real estate, but don't have the time, the expertise to invest in your own rental property. We're going to give you a very safe investment that's going to offer you a great return on your investment. I mean, not doubling your money or anything. We're going to get a very solid return on your investment when you invest in our properties. Who is this for? Well, it's for people who appreciate real estate, really appreciate it. They appreciate the value of the real estate, but really want to have a hands-off approach to investing in it. Maybe you feel you just don't have within your DNA to deal with tenants, to be a landlord. Or maybe you just don't have the time or the expertise to deal with the repairs, the emergencies that often occur with rental properties. And usually those emergencies occur in the middle of the night, when you're least expecting, and believe me. What we're offering here is what you might be looking for is a guarantee. And this is a 100% guaranteed approach to investing in real estate with a solid return. The important thing, a solid return. In the next 30 minutes, I'm going to try to help you understand and learn what our process is, how we go about it, how we give you a guaranteed passive income really without lifting a finger. How we ensure that you get a great return on your investment. I think that's the only reason to invest in it, to get a great return. And how we protect your property as if you were the bank, so that you get the same protection that a bank would get when lending to purchase a property. And we have various types of properties and various returns on those types of properties within our portfolio. My promise to you, I'm going to give you a step-by-step strategy on how the investment works, how we structure the investment. We're going to go through this step-by-step. We're going to go through step-by-step our guarantees, how you're protected. That's which I think is so important. If you're protected and you have a guaranteed rate of return, the risk is minimal. So we're going to make sure that you understand that and that you feel real comfortable with that before the end of the 30 minutes. So if this piques your interest, then I think you should continue. Again, do you want to invest in real estate, but you simply don't have the time? Do you want to invest in real estate, but you really just don't know how to go about doing it? You're not comfortable with it, and you don't, or maybe you just don't understand the investment process. Buying it at the right price, buying it, understanding how to value property is so important. So often people buy properties. Matter of fact, I'll tell you a story. I purchased a 2-unit apartment building. After renovations, I have about $55,000, $60,000 in this property. The neighbor, and I'm telling you, exactly same property next to me, just sold for $110,000. I should have sold mine, but I didn't. I'll keep it for a long-term investment. I got great tenants. It's a great property, so I'll keep it for a long-term investment. That's what we're looking to do. We're looking to find value in bargains. We're looking for bargains. We're not looking to pay retail. We're looking to pay wholesale. That's the whole purpose of what we're doing. And it took me quite a while to learn that, because I never really got involved in that wholesale. I was always buying retail. Now that I'm buying wholesale, it's like, why would you ever buy retail? So that's what we're offering for you. We're offering that expertise that took years for me to learn. 1980 started, a long time ago. First 2-unit property I bought in 1980, and now we have quite a few, and we're always looking to buy more. We think it's nice to be able to offer our expertise, maybe be able to buy a few more properties for the future, and offer you the ability to get great return on your money in a safe investment. We're talking about investing without the headaches of dealing with tenants, but they can be a problem. We've been pretty fortunate. So basically, the investment that you would give us is a totally hassle-free investment in real estate. You're going to get all the benefit with zero hassle. That's a fact. Sometimes it can get ugly with tenants. We've been pretty fortunate. We're pretty good at making sure we get good tenants and get good referrals. And it's amazing over the years of doing this that I rarely have a property open for more than long enough to clean it up and get another tenant in, because I have people who love to rent from us. We keep the properties in great shape, and they're getting good value for their rent, for their home, and they're quick to tell their friends that this property's open. You want to rent from these guys because they take care of their properties. Why should you invest with us? I think we do a great job. There's a lot of people doing what we do. We also offer you a number of different types of investments. We're going to offer you the possibility of a long-term investment, and we're going to offer you the possibility of a short-term investment. We're going to get into that a little bit later, but that's what we have to offer. We're going to buy the property. We're going to sell the property in the event that it's a short-term investment. We're going to work with you on the investment. We're going to make sure that you're getting good return on your money. We're going to guarantee you what we can afford in that property, so that there is no risk. We're based in York. However, we have properties throughout the country. We have a number of properties. We have 3 properties in Texas, 2 in Ohio. We have properties in northern Pennsylvania. We have properties in Arkansas. So we have properties throughout the country. We've been doing it for a long time, so we know what we're doing, and we understand value and how to make sure that we're getting a valuable investment, not paying retail. Good return on our investment is what we're looking for. There's 2 types of investments that we're going to talk to you about today. We're going to talk to you about short-term investment, less than a year. And we're going to talk about long-term investment, and that may be 8 to 15 years. But the short-term are quick flips. You've heard all about quick flips. That's something that we have gotten into in the past 3 years, and it's been very good for everybody involved. But let's start with the long-term investments. That's what I had started in the 80s. I've only bought and I held, and I bought and I held. Most of those now are paid off, but we're always looking to buy more, always looking to invest in long-term solid investments. Our investments that we're going to work with you on are either in residential housing, United States post offices, and very select commercial properties. Our objective is to ensure that the property that we buy is going to have a low vacancy rate. We need to keep the vacancy rate as low as possible. Long-term tenants like the United States Postal Service is a great way to keep the vacancy rate as low as possible. On-time payments all the time, and when the vacancy rate's low, there is no risk involved. No risk involved. So those are the various types of properties we're going to be talking about in this long-term investment: residential housing, post offices, United States Post Office, and select commercial properties. In my opinion, residential housing is the best. If you purchase it in a good location, it is the best long-term real estate investment that you can make. The reason I say that is no matter, all this disruption that's taken place in the U.S. economy and local economies, and you see malls just becoming more and more vacant because of the disruption that Amazon has taken. That doesn't happen in residential housing. People need a place to live. They can get a job somewhere else, work for a different type of industry, but they surely need a place to live. So it's very simple. Buy a property in the worst property in the best location at a bargain price. That's the formula. Worst property, best location, lowest price. Sounds like it's easy, right? It's not so easy. It's a difficult task. And you have to be very patient. You have to look hard and wide and until you find something. So we're going to buy houses through foreclosures. We're going to find them. We're going to look for distressed property owners. We're going to buy properties at estate sales, and we're going to buy short sales. And that's what we're looking for. We're not buying properties every day of the week, unfortunately, because we're very, very selective on what we want. So as an investor, there's no guarantee that if you would say we want to invest today, that we're going to have a property for you tomorrow. It may take us some time, but you'll be put on our list. You'll be in the queue so that when one comes up, you'll be asked to get involved. Our property purchasing process does help us, ramps us up to get properties rather quickly and get the right properties. So that's the residential side of investing in long-term investments. The next one is post offices. Post offices, we've had 17 different post offices throughout the country since the mid-'80s. Currently, as I said, we have them in Ohio. We currently have them in Texas. We have them in Arkansas. We have them in Pennsylvania. We bought and sold in Pennsylvania. We bought and sold all over the country. But I've always liked them. I've liked them because typically they're in good locations. United States Post Office is a great tenant. I mean, there's a lot of concern about where they may end up, but they're a great tenant. We purchased them in the situation of post office. You purchase them based on the return on investment on the lease that is on the property. We're not building new properties. We're buying existing properties because the day we purchase it, the day we're creating cash flow. Of the 17 properties that I bought and sold and still own, we've never really got hurt financially. You can see the one there that's an Ohio post office. Great location, great property. And if they would leave, we'll be able to get rid of it. We'll be able to re-rent it or resell it rather quickly. But that's typically what we're looking at, what you see in the picture there. I had purchased a quick story. I purchased a property in Ohio, a post office in Ohio. And after about 8 years of leasing to them, the neighbor of the property called me one night and said, "Hey, the post office is leaving. They're moving out tomorrow." I said, "Are you serious? No one's told me." So I called the Postal Service and chatted with them for a bit, and they still had 3 years left on their lease. So they paid me the 3 years that was left on their lease. The neighbor that called me wished to purchase the property. I got over 100% return on my investment, even for something that, initially in my mind I thought it might be a catastrophe, but it ended up being almost a blessing, really. And I've had a couple different kinds of blessings like that with post offices. Always good, always solid, always pay on time. It's always important in real estate that you have tenants that pay on time. Commercial properties is you need to be very selective when you're buying commercial property, especially this day and age. I like to buy government properties. Properties are leased by the state or local or federal government and get a long-term lease. However, here's a quick story on a property that I built a probation office for the state. And after 12 years of occupying the property, they decided that they needed to either enlarge it by 3 times the existing size, or they'd have to move. Well, it made no economic sense where the property was located that I would triple the size of that building, because you really always have to look at what you can do. How can you unload it if you need to unload it? What can it be used for? They moved, and after a short time and then some renovations, we found a new tenant that, in my opinion, is long-term a better tenant. It's better for the neighborhood too. We turned that property into a daycare center, and that daycare center has 100 kids in it. So the neighborhood is a vital asset to the neighborhood and the neighborhood families. And it turns out to be just a tremendous investment, pay on time, all the time. And matter of fact, I was just there today, and they said, make sure that if you want to sell this property, that you come to us first, because we will purchase it. So there'll be a time at which it makes sense for me to move on to another property after I pay down the mortgage or pay the investor down, so that I can then take a nice profit. Everybody wins. I move on to buy another property, and they get what they wanted, which is ownership of the property that they're currently renting. We're always looking for where's the out? How can you get out of the if you need to get out of this investment, what are our options? You got to be very careful. You see malls being destroyed because they are Amazon has just taken so many malls and ripped them apart. We don't want to be in that situation. We want to be in a situation where we can change its use, move on to a different property, if not, or to get a different tenant without much of a hassle. I'm going to give you a residential case study, and this would be a long-term investment. We purchased a single-family home at an auction for $40,000, and we determined that we were going to do about $15,000 in renovations to this property, and then we're going to rent it. So we now have $55,000 that we're going to invest in this property. That's not including the settlement costs, okay? So one of our investors said, I'm interested in investing $55,000 with you, and we offered him this house. He was given a promissory note with the initial investment, which takes that promissory note, and that investment takes place prior to our settlement, a couple of days, maybe a week prior to it. At the time of settlement, the investor will be given a mortgage on the property, and there will be a lien placed on the property. And that mortgage may be, that's something that is discussed prior to you committing to the investment, but typically 10 to 15 year term at 6, 8, 10% return, depending on what makes economic sense. In essence, the investor would be acting as a bank. The investor is given the mortgage on the property, lien is placed on the property for the full amount of the investment. In this case, the lien was placed on the property for $55,000. We then are going to be making monthly payments to that investor. So that investor every month will receive a check, which will be an amortized amount. It will be the interest. Take a 10-year amortization at 8%, that's the mortgage payment. That's what you get. In essence, the investor is acting as if he were the bank. All right? So the investor is protected from non-payment. If we don't pay them, you will have the option to foreclose just like a bank would. There's an insurance policy, fire insurance, liability insurance on the property, and the investor is listed as a mortgage holder. So in the event that I wouldn't pay the insurance premium, you would be given notice as the investor, as the mortgage holder, that the insurance payment policy has lapsed. That would be grounds to at least talk to us and say, hey, did something happen? Or to foreclose on us. So there's that option. So you're protected in that fashion. All the rental issues are handled by us. There's no rental expenses. There's no expenses involved. You are given X number of dollars per month until the mortgage is paid for. No fees. You don't have to worry about repairs. You don't have to worry about anything as the investor. We do everything. We maintain the property. We absorb all the costs. We take care of the investment, and we give you a monthly rental payment or mortgage payment. But it's very important that we buy properties at low prices, good locations. That's the key to success. We want to make sure we can rent it quickly, and sell it quickly if we would need to. But that's not in a long-term investment, it's not the need, that's not the objective. The objective is to make sure we get a good property, good location that we can get good solid rents and keep for a long period of time. Know that the neighborhood's not in a deteriorating mode, it's in a rising mode. Because really the objective is sometime along the line to sell it for equal or greater value than we invested in it originally. So let's kind of recap what we're going to be doing with long-term investments. We're going to invest in either residential housing, post offices, that'll be leased by the United States Postal Service, or commercial properties. You as the investor will receive a promissory note on your initial payment or your initial investment until a mortgage lien is attached to the property at time of settlement. So a mortgage lien will be attached to your property at the time we purchase the property. You will receive a monthly payment based on an amortized amount of your initial investment, and we agree upon the term, the number of years, and the interest rate. And then you will receive a monthly payment based on that information. It's really, to put it simply, you are the bank. You are acting as the bank, and we will be making a mortgage payment to you, the investor. We will take care of all taxes, insurance, maintenance, and so forth. There'll be insurance policy, fire insurance policy, home insurance policy. You will be listed as the mortgage holder. In the event that there's a lapse or anything, you will be notified so that your investment is protected at all times. If that type of investment has you interested, if you're interested in that, you can give us a call. You can look us up on our website and go to the investment opportunities and fill out the form. That's number one type of investment that we have for you for a long-term investment, guaranteed rate of return for a longer period of time. Now let's look at short-term opportunities, short-term investments. Now we're going to short-term investments, and those type of investments, they're flips, they're house flips. I'm sure you've heard of them. They're all over the HGTV, and you must know that there are risks. But we try to do our best to reduce those risks as much as possible. We're gonna guarantee you a 10% return on your investment, and when I say a short-term investment, we're gonna do this in less than a year. We're gonna make sure that your investment 10% is less than a year. We typically are turning one around in 6 months, so we're looking to do that as quickly as possible because we want to hopefully make you so happy that you are investing continually with us, and we are turning that money around in 4 to 6 months maximum. That's the goal, not the guarantee, but the goal is to turn around as quickly as possible for you. We take a house on the left-hand side. We purchase this house, and within 3 months we flip it. Again, we're looking for properties in good school districts, good neighborhoods, bad properties in good neighborhoods, in good school districts, and we're buying them at a discounted rate because they're in such disrepair. This house needed everything done. We put a new roof on it, new windows in it, new doors in it, new air conditioning, new heating system, just renovated the entire property. You can see that the kitchen we're talking about 1950. These people lived in it forever, did nothing. We turned it into a great property. This one it's nice because it had hardwood floors throughout, so we refinished the hardwood floors, we repainted it. We do everything to a property. If there was any kind of water issues, we take care of the water issues. So our properties are great. When they're done, they sell quickly because they're so beautiful and they're so, we do such a great job. The guys that do the renovations for us are just fabulous. They just do great. It's a brother team. They call themselves the Property Brothers, but it's not the Property Brothers that you see on TV, but they're brothers that have been doing this for a long time, and it's a blessing that we have them to work with. Okay, let's talk about how that process works. We have an initial meeting, so we're going to talk to you. We're going to sit down with you, and we're going to talk to you about what is your interest. What do you want to do? You want to try to make money faster with a little bit more risk, or do you want to have that guaranteed on the long-term investment? So we talk about that. We can do that in person, or we can do it on the phone. After we talk to you, and we decide you want to invest with us, now we got to search for a property. And after we find a property, we'll sign up. After we find that property and sign the purchase agreement, that's when you'll be required to give us your investment. At that time, you will receive a promissory note for the investment, and that money that you give us can only be used on the property listed on that note. Okay? We will then provide, when we purchase the property, we're going to provide property insurance to protect your investment and protect our investment, because sometimes you're only putting a portion of the investment into it and we're putting the rest in. Or we may get financing elsewhere that we're going to be putting in, but we need to make sure that our investments are protected. We're responsible for all expenses. We're going to take care of everything. This is the only investment you're going to make, is that initial investment. We're going to take care of the utilities, the taxes, the insurance premiums, any agreements that we make with contractors and suppliers. We're taking care of it. At the time of settlement, when we purchase that property, a lien will be filed and recorded to ensure that you, the investor, will receive your initial investment plus the 10% that we're going to guarantee you. So we're going to guarantee you 10% on your money. So let's just say that you have an initial investment of $100,000, and that will return you $110,000 at the time we sell the property. Okay? So in this example, a lien for $110,000 will be placed on the property that we purchase. It is our goal to move it as quickly as possible. We want to move them and flip them as fast as possible. So there has been times where we made all the renovations, the flip, before the county even recorded that mortgage on that property. But we will ensure that at the time of settlement, you, the investor, are paid for your investment plus 10%. I had an investor recently. He put up $100,000. Within 3 months, he was returned the 110% on his investment. Within 3 months, we flipped the house. A typical house, after we do the renovations, is sold with less than a month. So we take depending on our caseload, we take 3 to 4 months to renovate a house, and then typically they are sold within the 5th month. All right, you may have that same investor has invested in 2 different properties, $50,000 in 2 different properties, and both of those are nearing closure. So within about 8 to 12 months, that investor will have invested $100,000, been paid once $110 back, plus now reinvested that. So he will have been able to reinvest that $100,000, and at the end of the year, we'll have made $20,000 on that $100,000. So now you have a choice. You can invest in the stock market. There's a lot of vehicles you can invest in. And as far as flipping houses, you can invest with, I'm sure there's lots of guys out there offering something similar to us. There's good apples and there's bad apples. We consider ourselves a great apple. We pay attention to details, but that requires a lot of due diligence. We're not doing 30, 40 houses a month. Our goal is to do 4 to 5 houses a month. That's our goal. We're currently doing 1 to 2 houses a month. We want to up that ante, and that's why we're asking for your help. If you don't buy, if we don't buy the property at the right price, knowing what we can sell it for, nobody wins. We want to make money. You want to make money. That's our goal. We want to make sure that we're buying them and can sell them at a reasonable price. They move fast. We want it, when it's time to sell it, we want it to move fast. And right now that's happening because there's limited properties available for sale. So it really is a seller's market. But again, we want to offer good value. We want people to talk about us. We want to make sure that people are extremely happy. We offer on our properties, we offer a 12-month warranty. So we're very careful on what we make sure we do, so that we don't have problems. But if we do have problems, we fix them. So if you have interest, if you're interested in anything we talked about today, my team and I have set aside times anytime, the next 48 hours, in the next 2 months, whatever you are interested, give us a call. You can look us up on our website. You can fill out the investment opportunities section. We'll talk you through it, see if you're interested. We're not going to be high pressure. If you're not interested, fine. If you are, great. We need to, we need more investors. We need people involved. But we're anxious to look for you. We're anxious to hear from you. And whatever we can do to make this as quick and easy as possible, that's what we want to do. Appreciate your time, and I hope you learned something, and I hope you enjoyed this presentation, and please give us a call. Thanks again.